The world is your mirror. What the heck does that mean? Well, this is exactly what we're going to be talking about today, how your relationships and your experiences act as a mirror for you in this life. First, I want to welcome you to my channel. My name is Chelsea Cora. I talk about all things spiritual growth, emotional healing, and personal development. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing to this channel to help support this content. You may have heard this already, that the world is a mirror, or relationships are mirroring something about yourself back to you. And to be honest, this topic is a huge topic. It's a mysterious topic. It's a mystical topic. People have written books, essays, and hours-long presentations about this topic, which I can actually link to some of those in the description box because there's a lot to learn about this topic. However, today I'm going to make it super simple. I'm just going to share one aspect of this topic. This would be that our relationship to other people, specifically the dynamics that are in those relationships, have the capacity to mirror back to us our own relationship to ourself. Now, I'll give a super concrete example. When I was in my early 20s, I was in a 4.5 years long relationship with a individual who was pretty unstable, pretty manipulative, and pretty wounded. From my more evolved lens of compassion, I can see he was just super wounded. But this relationship was supremely toxic and abusive. Most of the abuse took place on an emotional and psychological or verbal level, but sometimes it escalated to a physical level. Sometimes there was physical violence and abuse in this relationship too. And while some of you might be relating to this, maybe you've experienced an abusive relationship of your own, others might be asking the question, why did you stay in this relationship? And there's a whole lot of explanations for this in the realm of psychology about traumatic bonding and Stockholm syndrome, and how a woman or man will actually try to leave a relationship like this. A lot of times it's like a man-woman dynamic, but it could be across all genders and identities. An abused person will try to leave the relationship several times before they're actually successful because there's such a deep psychological hold that this relationship has on them. What's also true is that this relationship was mirroring back to me my own depleted sense of self-worth. That everything that this individual had done to me, in hindsight, looking back, I now see that I was already doing these things to myself. When I observed my own internal dialogue, I was constantly berating myself with criticisms, and even I would swear at myself sometimes to try to motivate myself to do better in life or to be something that I perceived myself as not having, doing, or being already. And so the verbal abuse in the relationship really mirrored my own thoughts and attitudes to myself. During this phase of my life and earlier phases of my life, I also even physically harmed myself. As a teenager, I would often engage in practices of self-mutilation, and this carried on throughout my life in my early 20s, times where I just felt suicidal or felt like I didn't belong on this planet, felt really sad and unworthy. So the manipulation, the gaslighting, all of the toxic tendencies in this relationship were actually mirroring back to me my own relationship with myself, my own self-image that was happening on a subconscious level. I was not aware of any of this stuff, but I did feel like a victim in this relationship. And to some extent, I was. And to a big extent, it was necessary to leave this relationship. And finally, after 4.5 years of being in this personal hell, I did manage to leave the relationship. After some time went on and I started dating again, I actually started attracting to me other toxic relationships. Now, maybe they didn't mirror the exact behaviors or characteristics that this 4.5 year long partner did embody, but there were other things. For example, dishonesty and being cheated on and just being mistreated in other ways that were, again, a mirror to my own deep-seated low sense of self-worth, to my own toxic relationship, to my own self. But fast forward years later, now I'm not in my early 20s, I'm in my early 30s, and I have done a whole lot of inner work, some deep inner child work, shadow work, trauma integration work around all of these things. I have significantly increased my sense of self-worth and self-love. My internal dialogue is no longer characterized by abusive, tumultuous berating, but rather of compassion and genuine encouragement and acceptance. Now my relationships are much different. Now I'm actually in a partnership that I've been in for the last year and a half that is a much different mirror. I'm with a partner who listens to me, who is never violent, who they themselves is emotionally stable and loving and caring and honest and validating, and is really such a beautiful reflection of the divinity of this universe. And if I look at my partner and my relationship to my partner, I feel like I'm gonna cry, because I feel like, wow, I really have done so much work to get to this point where this is now my mirror. And it all makes so much sense of what I was being mirrored before and what my internal world was actually like, and what is being mirrored now. So there are countless examples of this, but I would encourage you to think about your own life, past or present, and the relationships you've endured or currently have, and what are the dynamics in those relationships, whether positive or negative, and how can you embark on a journey of self-inquiry to determine, are these qualities that are present in your own relationship with yourself? Take it a step further to notice whatever you feel that you are lacking from the world, whether you're lacking validation from the world, if you feel you're lacking support or compassion, if you're lacking being listened to in the world. How can you flip that and give all of those exact things to your own self? How can you actually listen to yourself? And if you find yourself in situations that you don't actually want to be in, but you're constantly ignoring your signals that your body is sending you, that your intuition is sending you, and you continue to repeatedly put yourself in those situations out of some story of obligation or something else, well, that's an example of a way that you're not really listening to yourself. And you can start listening to yourself better and actually caring for yourself, being your own lover, your own best friend, your own caretaker, your own highest advocate and supporter. So it takes some unpacking to see whatever we appear to be lacking from our relationships or the world around us are actually being manifested in a way that we're not giving it to ourselves. But it's as simple as a conviction, a strong decision to turn those dynamics around and to start being the one to give that to ourselves. So I hope this video resonates. I encourage you to continue educating yourself on this topic. Check out some of the links I've provided in the description to this video, and always do your own research. See what other people are saying, other teachers, other sources about what it means that the world and the relationships in our world are mirroring our own self back to us. And if you are on a journey of improving your relationships and you're interested in learning about some top ways to move through relationship conflicts in a healthy and productive way, then I would encourage you to click the video on the screen, because I go pretty deep into some of that material in that video. But other than that, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in today, and I'll talk to you all next time. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video. And as always, commenting your own experiences down below, because I love reading comments from viewers. Bye for now.